If you were to ask me what was my least favorite Sonic boss fight, back then I would have said Perfect Dark Gaia. The reason? Simple. It freaking sucks. The Gaia Colossus is fine. The run up to Dark Gaia is fine, if not made infuriating because of how fast they're going, the fact they need to react to these things in split seconds. And the final fight against Perfect Dark Gaia? Not good. Sure, the spectacle is there, but I simply do not care if I'm not having fun. And personally, yeah, spectacle can carry some pieces of media for me. But at least the spectacle isn't very spectacular if I'm seeing it over and over and over again because of one crucial part near the end. You have to hit the square button 50 times in just a few seconds. And if you don't get it, guess what? Back to the beginning for you. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not the freaking Flash. I can't just mash like there's no tomorrow. I have human limits. And the thing is, it's not like the rest of the fight is good aside from this part. No. The fight itself is just average without this part. Just circling around this arbitrary force field. Meanwhile, Chip gets to do all the cool stuff. Oh, and by the way, the ending's not worth it. Just things go back to normal. Professor Pickle gets the most freaking generic, oh, good night, and Chip just leaves. He just goes because he needs to fulfill his life. Chip just goes in this freaking semi-emotional scene that I just don't care about because I just spent like 3 hours trying to press the X button 50 times. Legit, the only thing that carries this boss fight is the spectacle, which isn't very spectacular after a while, and the music, which I will admit, the music is very freaking good. I hate this. There is no way any Sonic game can top how infuriating Perfect Dark Gaia is. Pepperoni passion. Oh my god. I love Sonic Frontiers, okay? This is a banger-ass video game. It's one of my absolute favorite Sonic games. The transition to open world was surprisingly smooth. This is one of those games where after a while you just kind of go into a flow state, just doing all the objectives while still having fun. And cyberspace is alright. The physics are definitely a bit off, but overall they're pretty fine. And the combat is pretty good. It's really fun after a while. And with combat, there must come boss fights. When people talk about Sonic Frontiers boss fights, they are gunning to talk about the Titans. I'm hanging on to the other side. And could you blame them? Oh my goodness. These right here, these three Titans, the pinnacle of Sonic boss fights. These three are the rare parts of video games where you can just see everything click into making one playable masterpiece. There will be nothing like the feeling of pure excitement when Sonic turned Supersonic and Undefeatable started playing. There will never be a moment like that first reaction to when Sonic silently the sword, grabbed it, and then sliced the knight in half! And it's all complemented by the music. Dude, the music! So when you're playing that final island, of course you're getting to find out what the final boss will be. I mean, after the night, literally anything could be the final boss. Like, genuinely. Alright, so lay it on me. Oh, it's just Gigano again. Oh. Well, hopefully this will be fun. Pizza time! It was not fun. Supreme is one of the worst final bosses in Sonic history, and let me explain to you why. Alright, so we have a thankfully good start. The music is this boss fight's one and only saving grace. It is I'm Here, the game's main theme, and yeah, that song slaps, I'm not even gonna lie. Overall, Frontiers' vocal selection is one of the best of the entire series, but that's not really what we're here to talk about. Okay, now it's time to talk about the boss fight itself. What can I start with? Supreme is one of the most bare basic boss fights in video game history. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but nevertheless, Supreme is boring once you get good at it. And it's because Supreme doesn't really have attacks. Well, I mean, he does, but not really. All of his attacks need to be started up by you doing something. Otherwise, it's time to rely on those little guns that he just has flying around him. And since those are easy to avoid, you're free to wail on him for a few seconds until he does a spin attack. No matter, just parry it. But when you parry it, he does another attack, which is unavoidable, and it sends you to a laser animation that is way too long for how often it plays, and then it sends you back. What? The problem actually exists with the knight. You see, when you get swung by a sword, it plays this animation of Supersonic getting bumped into the wall and then going back up. I hate that animation because of how long it is and how often it will play. And same with this, I hate it for the exact same reason. It's not like anything cool is happening, it's just the one motion of Sonic getting hit. That could have easily been done out of cutscene, but fine, whatever. Okay, sure, whatever. That first phase is fine, but not one of the worst final bosses worthy. It seems like your freaking Splash Dad's out here just angry for no reason. No hate intended. Well, that's because all my problems lies within the second phase. Okay, so number one, that cutscene is hella misleading. He gains wings and then he just doesn't use them, even though he is flying during the second phase. Fine, sure, whatever. There's a cut feature. Sure, we went out. We can get over that. But the main problem I have is this right here. You see this? You see this utter bull crappery? Do you get its health bar low enough? It just stops. You cannot deal any more damage to him. Why? Well, this is because you need to get hit by him. Alright, fair enough. Okay, I'll just get hit by him and, what the... Where's the cutscene? Where's the phase 3 cutscene? Oh, I get it. Maybe I need to get hit by his slash thing that happens when you hit him. No? Then what do you do? Simple. You have to get hit by his slapping attack. Now you might be saying, well, Supreme doesn't have a slapping attack. And I wouldn't blame you! Number one, there is no other point in the game where you need to get hit by a boss fight in order for stuff to happen. You just wail on them and, you know, different phases will play as you hit them. Because that is how games work. Oh, don't think you missed a notification or something. No. The game does not tell you how to advance. And getting launched over the ocean doesn't count for anything. It has to be with the one attack that he never uses. So you're just stuck there wondering what to do and oh, get fricked. You see, what you're supposed to do is to destroy one of his projectile cannon thingies. How are you supposed to know that that's how you activate the slap? You're just supposed to know. Just peer into the future Doctor Strange style. Oh, and by the way, the cutscene afterwards is just not worth it. Supreme shoots the gun and Sonic deflects it. That's it. After that, just feel free to rail on him to your heart's content. Yeah, nothing in the fight actually changes. It just really wanted you to do that quick time event. And that was probably to compensate because his failing animation sucks. You remember all those cool finishers that Sonic did? Nah, how about kneeling to the ground? Okay, that's cool. Fine. Freaking fine, you know, it's fine. There's the second phase, let's hope it's better. It says 3 quick time events, god frick! Well, actually, it's only 3 quick time events if you're playing on easy or normal mode. Because Sega developed this thing thinking we were still in the N64 era. Cool, it's fine. Let's just hope the actual final boss is good. This is just Galaga! Yeah, that's right. The big threat that the entire game has been building up. The guy who destroyed the ancients, like literally all of them, is a giant purple moon. And the way you defeat this massive evil is by playing Advanced Galaga. I don't think this could get any more disappointing if they tried. It's just this. It's just this for 5 minutes and then the game's over. What happened? Okay, sure. That does sound very disappointing, and the cutscene thing sucks. But it can't be worse than hitting the square button 50 times causing you permanent carpal tunnel, is it? And you're right. If you were to ask me what my least favorite boss fight was when I beat Sonic Frontiers, I would still say Perfect Dark Gaia. But then the update came out. Alright, so basically throughout the final horizon, Sonic has been trying to look for a way to weaponize his little cyber corruption that he's had the entire game. And after doing King Coco's trials, he can finally take on the final boss. Which is the same as regular Supreme. Okay, that's a bit annoying, whatever. You can mow through this fight in like a minute, and even then, most of that minute is based off of the long-ass animations in between. And then finally, you get to the real boss fight. Like, so basically, this dude has a tentacle in his head. If you hit him, his health will automatically refill because of the tentacle in his head. So you need to disconnect the tentacle. Now, how do you do that? I don't know. Get hit like 4 times, Bozo. You need to go Supersonic Blue eventually. Yeah, that's right. You need to eat balls in order to turn Supersonic 2, just like real life. I think this boss's biggest problem is that it refuses to communicate stuff clearly if it communicates stuff at all. Like, for example, the very first thing you're supposed to do is cut off the wire. One can concur that you would probably have to lock onto it, right? Well, here's the thing. You can't. You can punch, you can move around, you can go literally anywhere, and that lock on will never go to the tentacle. So how do you do it? You hit the shoulder button. Not just on its own, no. You need to do it during a combo. And this is never hinted towards you. At all. No, actually, I lied. It does hint it towards you. How nice! They only do it once you 100% Final Horizon. What? I hate sounding like that guy, but genuinely, what were they thinking? Were you just supposed to know this? Because you do not do anything like this in the base game or Final Horizon. In fact, do you want to know how I learned this? By watching the Bakuri Box 12 video. You should not need to look up a video in order to play your boss fight. At least with Supreme, I can see how you could theoretically accidentally get hit by the claw. But here, how are you supposed to guess any of that? Anyways, after you take off the cord, you get him down pretty quickly, at least in my experience. And then it reconnects. Okay, cool. There's another phase of the same thing. So, you do the same thing again, and then it reconnects. You do it again, it reconnects, you do it again, it reconnects, and oh my god, not this again! So you're actually supposed to do something while he's down. You wanna guess what? Silent loop his gun. How are you supposed to figure that out? Again, nothing in the base and Final Horizon prepares you for this. Especially since side looping in Supersonic boss fight is honestly super useless. Sage, Eggman, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy get involved, and honestly, I don't care. The amount of times I lost to this boss fight because of poor communication is insane. All you do is just wail on him. The ending animation is cool, I guess, but honestly, I can't even find it cool because of how much pure frustration this boss fight brings. This is one of those things where it feels like every single step was made to infuriate me as much as possible. And the cherry on top of all this, when you fail, and you will do so, you have to start from the very first phase, the first Supreme. Now, I don't think me angrily explaining you will really grasp how much pure rage I felt from this final boss. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I prefer the original ending. At the very least, it wasn't infuriating. And honestly, I think the worst part is, even after you learn all this stuff, it just becomes a whale fest with extra steps. Its only purpose is to show you cool animations, and that's it. At the very least, I can rest knowing that Sega, at least now, is responding to criticism way better than they did back then. So hopefully they can improve on this absolute abomination of a final fight. And yeah, I really just got on the mic and decided to rant for 20 minutes, and you guys watched. So thanks.